Alright, now we're going to concentrate on this step here. And it's actually not that difficult. If it does become difficult, we can use a little bit of our diff fluid to hold things in place, or a little bit of grease. However, I don't think we're going to need to do that. So what we're going to do is take our cross pins, and you're going to see that there's little notches in there. When the unit is together, the notches are going to fit so that the pins stack on top of each other like little Lincoln logs. Okay, so we do need to watch the orientation of these pins as we're putting the diff together. Alright, so let's start with the bottom one with the notch facing up. Let's go ahead and put one of the bevel gears on this side with the bevel pointing in, and put another one on this side with the bevel pointing in. Pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and get one of the little shims and put one on each end. Now we're going to drop the pin down inside the diff. You're going to see notches here and notches here. Let's go ahead and drop this down inside and hope nothing falls apart. I'm going to drop that down in there, and then we're going to spread the gears apart and make sure that the notch is pointing up. This is what it looks like. Boy, my dog's lighting up about something. Okay, let's do the same thing, except for the next set we're going to put in crosswise with the notch facing down. So I'm going to grab two more of the gears, and I'm going to put those on here real quick. A couple more of the shims, and we're going to make sure that our notch is pointing down. I'm going to spin that around. I'm actually going to pull these out a little bit more. Kind of hard to hold on to. I'm going to drop it down inside. Spread the gears out. Make sure that that notch is pointing down until everything's lined up in there. That's the way it should look inside. Pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do right now is put my finger on the cross, and I'm just going to turn everything to make sure nothing's binding up. It looks like we're all good there. Yay! That was pretty easy. Alright, now we're going to grab the gasket, and up to you, but again, I like to pre-lube the gaskets. I like to just put a little bit of lubricant on them, and I'm going to use some of the grease that came with the kit, this green grease. You don't need too much. That's actually probably a little bit too much, but I just like to lube that up a little bit. Okay. Now to find something to wipe my hands on besides my pants. Just use my pants. Alright, let's go ahead and fill the diff up. Gotta love their diff fluid bottles. I'm going to tell you right now that if you try putting your fluid in right now, it's going to get real messy. This very thick fluid, and the hole in the nozzle here is not big enough. So we're going to remove the nozzle. We're going to pour the diff fluid in. You're going to want to put it in until it's about 1/8 of an inch from the top. It is thick. So you just kind of drizzle it in there and let it soak in. very gently, if you would like, go ahead and turn the outdrive so that the diff fluid will sink in if there's any air bubbles that are trapped underneath. You just want to be sure that you don't push the notches apart on the two cross pins. Put a little bit more in. Let it settle in. There we go. That should be. I'll put a little more in just for good luck. Okay. Take a look at it and you can see the level there. It's about an 1/8 inch below. That should be good. Okay. Let's take our gasket and line up the holes on the gasket with the holes in the case. If you want, you could probably even put the gasket on the inside here. It's up to you. Just remember that when you turn this over, this gear is going to fall off. And it can get yucky. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of grease on here to hold it. You know what? I'm sitting here watching diff fluid leak out of my diff. How do you like that? You see that? We forgot to do a step. Thank God it's not thin. Let's take the little set screw that's in the directions that you can see right here and insert that into the hole. I think that might keep it from leaking. You think so? Come on. Do I have the right set screw? Of course, when it's leaking, I'll never know. I didn't see any other set screws in there. Let me find the right set screw. I'll be right back. Okay, so that was stupid mistake number 1. So, okay. There's teeny little set screws in this bag, which I didn't see, so never said we were perfect. We'll make lots more mistakes along the way. So let's go ahead and plug that hole up with a set screw. You only want to put it in until it's even with the case. Don't want to go too far. I'm just glad it's real thick diff fluid. Otherwise, it could have been much, much messier than it was. And I'm just grabbing a paper towel now to wipe everything off with. Fortunately, I had one laying there. There we go. Much better. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and finish up. I'm going to line the gasket up with the screw holes. Should probably put it on here first, but we'll try it this way first. I put grease on there so that when we turn this over, the gear won't fall off. And we're going to line up the holes here with the holes on the diff. Just like so. Want to make sure that all the holes are lined up. I'm just using an Allen driver to make sure the holes are lined up, and we are going to insert the 4 screws. So, we made our first mistake. And you know what? It's not going to be our last. Welcome to a Fast Eddie video. I'm going to put the screws in. Just put them in until they touch. You don't want to crank all the way down on them yet. We're just going to put them in until they touch. We're going to put all 4 in, and then we're going to tighten them in a star pattern. So, as soon as my hands are free here, I'm going to turn the camera off and then go ahead and insert the other 3 screws, and we'll be right back. Okay, we've got all 4 of the set screws in just till they touch. At this point, we want to just go around in a cross pattern and just do a little bit of a turn on each one, until they're snug. You don't want to over tighten them because you will strip the screws out, and that's not something that you want to do. There we go. Last but not least, anytime you put two parts together that move, let's check and make sure that there's no binding in there. It should, at this point, feel very, very smooth. It shouldn't be notchy or grindy, but there should be quite a bit of resistance as you turn the outdrives in opposing directions. That's what it looks like when we're done. We have built our first part, and that is the diff. Okay, we're going to get set up and move on to the next step.